Welcome, Speed Gaming fans, to the SGL 2022 Any Percent Tournament. My name is Eddie, and we have a great match for you here tonight. It is not tonight, this morning, this afternoon, depending on which time zone you're in, but this match is going to be losers round one between Galen and ScotTroid, both very strong runners, both runners that opt to go for Fantoon first typically. And I would say both very evenly matched runners. This is going to be really exciting. The winner of this match will go on to play Bressingham in losers round 2, and the loser will be out of the tournament. But yeah, I am quite excited to calm this match. This is going to be a really exciting one. Once again, as I said, evenly matched. Both of these runners having very similar qualifying times. I believe Galen as a 23rd seed and ScotTroid as a 20th seed, both averaging about a 46 in the qualifiers. But obviously, both of these players can do much better than that. I believe right now with the PB, ScotTroid I believe has a 44, and Galen, last I checked, might also have a 44. Let me see. Can't remember off the top of my head, but Galen has been grinding this quite a bit. Yes, Galen with the 4408, having I think been grinding this recently. Got this PB 3 months ago. ScotTroid, I believe in the last PB that he got was a 45 skip and got a 44 34. So definitely excited to see this one happen. We had a little bit of pre-moat banter here. ScotTroid saying this is the fallen moat percent category, which is absolutely correct. This is definitely the category where you can fall in the moat. Right, so Galen getting out of series with a 45.59, ScotTroid right behind with a 45.02. I would say in a typically in a race setting, as long as you get a 44, you can be pretty happy. Series is often the time where runners will, you know, based off some RNG and some bad patterns, you might just, or if you just miss a wall jump, you'll fall. And you'll often see players at this level when they fall and they get that 43, they just hit that reset button. And it's pretty common. So as long as you can get out of series with just a 44 or higher, I think you can rest easy knowing that you're not losing absurd amounts of times just kind of in the starting point of the game. Right, so here we go. Trying to get that little sync up. ScotTroid's timer seems to not be working at the moment, so the sync will be a little bit uneven perhaps, but that's okay. We'll be close, and at the end, we'll see the race times to officially announce the winner for this. But ScotTroid should be about half a second behind just because of that series. So this looks about right. All right, so both players employing that moonfall strategy. Oh, Galen taking a few falls in the pit room. So, just like that, ScotTroid taking the lead. Definitely talked about this before, but that pit room where you just have to jump across the platforms is not easy. You know, something like that, it's just common that players will make mistakes, fall in the pit, even at the highest level. So here we go, just like that, ScotTroid with a little bit of the lead. Here comes the morph grab. Nice little thing to point out with this morph grab, the players are actually pressing right before grabbing that morph ball. What that allows to do is Samus gets into this wall jump check pose where she's kicking off the wall, and in a way you kind of stick to the wall and you actually grab the morph ball a little bit faster. So for a little subtlety for those who may not actually speedrun this game, that is a thing that they're doing. They're pressing right before grabbing the morph, and the right press is actually what ends up letting Samus grab the morph. It's just one of those small little frame saver things that you would not necessarily know if you unless you ran the game. All right, so here we go. Both players going up the elevator, and we'll be heading up to the Bomb Torizo. But before that, we have the pit room, reverse pit room, and then we have the climb room, and then we got the parlor. All quite difficult rooms And here we go. Let's see how they can execute here. ScotTroid going for the pit boost. Excellent pit boost for ScotTroid. Galen going something for a little more conservative where he just runs along the platforms. So great room so far for both these players. ScotTroid going for the wall jump climbs. Galen opting to go for the behemoth climb, which is the ledge grab climbs. ScotTroid flying up this wall. Wow, great climb for ScotTroid. Great climb for Galen. They're crushing these rooms so far. ScotTroid flying up the parlor just fine. And Galen also flying up the parlor just fine. One little small hiccup where he kind of broke a spin right there. But ultimately, these are great rooms for both these players. All right, so presumably, assuming Galen's time is accurate with ScotTroid, that's a 443 bombs for ScotTroid, and a 446 or 447 for Galen. Very, very strong bomb times here. All right, so both players moonwalking back to that pixel perfect spot where Bomb Chorizo will just jump back even if you're sitting there. It's very specific that you land right there. So here we go. Let's see. Good missile spread for ScotTroid. And Galen with a decapitation animation. Unfortunately, Galen, I think, might have miscounted. Didn't really notice that he had one less missile than required, so not getting the perfect kill right there, but that's okay. So ScotTroid taking a little bit of a lead. Here we go. Nice Alcatraz from ScotTroid. And I do expect both of these players to be running Phantoon first routes. I believe that is their main route. We will see when we get to the Green Pirate Shaft. Oh, a little stumble from ScotTroid. There's a little slope right there where if you kind of do an arm pump or a shot right there, things can go kind of wrong. Oh, ScotTroid did not want to take that hit. That's really, really bad. Okay, so ScotTroid's gonna have to farm like almost all these pirates potentially because he only has 89 health and he's not getting any resources. Okay, so very interesting spot for ScotTroid. As you can see, he's got 5 missiles. Galen has 99 health, 199 health and 2 missiles. That's kind of what you want for new route. ScotTroid has to employ something strange here where normally you would just have full health and then farm these bugs, but he's actually just gonna have to weave through the bugs or ignore them altogether. He does not want to use a missile on the off chance that he does not get his missile back because he doesn't have full health. So yeah, he's just gonna do a moonfall strat. That is something that you can do in KPDR, the crate first route, where you do have typical 5 missiles. So good adaptation from ScotTroid. ScotTroid not getting the bug boost. Galen opting to just not forego the bug boost, morphing at the top, and both players grabbing the super missile. Pretty much tied up at this point. ScotTroid does have a little bit of a lead here. I would definitely say not going for that waiver boost is probably a smart decision in a race setting, if you're not super confident in it, because it is a blind deboost, so it's kind of scary, and if things go wrong, you could get knocked down and lose a lot of time there. So definitely something interesting to note. Galen getting that big health from that bug gives him 199 health. That's really good for Phantoon, whereas ScotTroid with 149 health, that's a little scary. We're gonna have to see. Maybe ScotTroid will opt to do some farming in the Hellway or something like that. In a PB pace, you would just take this health and go with it. But honestly, Phantoon being one of the main dangerous points in new route, in a race setting, I almost feel like it might just be worth doing some sort of farm in the Hellway to recover some of that health if you possibly can. But we'll see. We'll see. If ScotTroid does opt to just go straight to Phantoon without taking any sort of safety, then we'll have to be aware of his health because he might die within 2 hits potentially. Okay, so ScotTroid going for the bug boost. Another little frame saver strat that saves some time, about 20 frames for the cost of 10 health. Galen opting not to go for that strat. So once again, as you can see here, Galen with 60 health on ScotTroid. That's a big deal. We'll have to see how that plays out when we get to the wreck shift. Okay, so Red Tower. This is always a dangerous spot in the game. Oh, ScotTroid taking a fall. He should be fine. He can recover from this. Oh, he's gonna lose a lot of time here to Galen because now that block has regenerated. He's gonna have to fall all the way back down and go again. Galen not doing any sort of farm in the hallway is gonna go for it. ScotTroid looks like he's actually just gonna go for a deboost because, oh, nope. Okay, here we go. ScotTroid doing a little bit of farming here. Yeah, this is where you want to do the farm. Get some health. And he's gonna grab those missiles, he's gonna grab that big health, and he's gonna grab that super, which will actually give him another big health coming up from this CAC. So Yeah, ScotTroid, I think with all of this, will end up having more health than Galen. We'll have to see, assuming this is all executed properly. Galen kind of being a little bit infamous. There is a clip of Galen doing this caterpillar room in his route, and there's some funny memes regarding that. But as you can see, 142 health for Galen. ScotTroid, because he got that extra super missile, will get this one, and he's going to get a big health from that CAC. So both players with even health effectively here. Now, assuming everything else goes right, they take no additional hits. That means that they can take 3 hits from Phantoon and survive. And that's good. Typically, as long as you're kind of above that 121 health threshold, that's kind of the nice thing about, that's kind of the extra safety for Phantoon. Because every additional hit you can take from Phantoon is going to ensure that you have a higher chance of completing and coming out alive. Okay, so Galen not getting that CWJ attempt, falls in the moat. ScotTroid with the CWJ attempt. Galen is going to have to go for HBJ. Galen, unfortunately pressing right a little bit too long on that first bomb. ScotTroid falling and not getting the CWJ. That is a 2-frame window, but it's always a little bit sketchy. ScotTroid's, I guess you could say, prediction coming true. This is the fallen moat percent. So Galen taking another dip right there in the moat. ScotTroid trying to get across, second try. HBJ falls in the moat again. Okay, so here we go. Oddly enough, this race is still close because both players are falling in the moat. Galen with the CWJ attempt misses the CWJ and falls in the moat one more time. Here we go, ScotTroid. ScotTroid falls in the moat. It's a back and forth battle with the moat being the final boss of the game. Okay, here we go. Galen, CWJ attempt. Another moat fall. Here we go, ScotTroid going for the CWJ setup. Takes the dip right here. And here we go. ScotTroid gets the CWJ across the moat. That could potentially be a 1-frame window, but ScotTroid, the first to cross the moat. And here we go. Galen, once again, trying to do the HBJ. Let's see if he can get it. Oh, takes another dip in the moat. All right, so ScotTroid heading over to Phantoon. If he's not aware of the situation with the ScotTroid, he might think he's significantly further behind than he is. But in reality, ScotTroid also fell quite a bit in the moat. So here we go. We have ScotTroid heading down the wreck ship main shaft, heading over to Phantoon, and we have Galen waiting to see if we can get that HBJ to get across the moat. Still having some trouble. Oh, ScotTroid taking a hit from that ghost. That ghost hits really hard. As you can see, 84 HP. ScotTroid had 144 health. That means he's got 2 hits from Phantoon. That is not what you want to see. ScotTroid may have to consider taking this fight a little bit more conservatively. Some patterns like the fast left will almost guarantee getting a hit right off the bat, so we'll have to see what happens here. Okay, so no fast for ScotTroid. Galen finally getting across that moat. Okay, this is looking like a slow for ScotTroid. Okay, ScotTroid playing this fight very well so far, but that Doppler does not look good. This is most likely gonna have to be a 3-round for ScotTroid. All right, so here we go. Will the mid appear? That's a mid for ScotTroid. ScotTroid getting a nice little health refill from Phantoon. Definitely a 3-round. ScotTroid can secure this 3-round, and that is going to be a slow mid slow for ScotTroid unless he cannot secure the 3-round here. Here we go. Ooh, no 3-round for ScotTroid. So just like that. Okay, a fast recovery for ScotTroid. And there we go. Okay, slow mid, slow fast for ScotTroid. 4-round secured. Galen, absolutely with some fast patterns can catch up here with the ScotTroid. That's a fast for Galen. Air Doppler for Galen. Didn't look like the Doppler was clean enough. We'll probably have to go. That's a 2 fast for Galen. So this is likely going to be a 3-round unless he goes for a huge Doppler here. That was so close. That was so close. I think fast for Galen. So just like that, Galen is still behind, but the gap, even though Galen fell several more times than ScotTroid, is definitely closing. ScotTroid with the slow mid, slow fast 4-round. Galen with the triple fast 3-round. All right. Oh, okay. So Galen not getting a power bomb from Phantoon. Unfortunately, that is a little bit of time loss. As you can see right here, Galen is not going to use this power bomb that you typically use in New Route. right here, he's going to have to kind of do a really slow pattern where he just shoots all this debris out manually, and that's definitely a time loss. Meanwhile, ScotTroid with the attic does not get the clean attic, so has to delay that shot right there on the atomic, but should be able to recover this quickly. Some little item canceling issues with ScotTroid here. ScotTroid applying a nice little spin jump out there. I think he's just gonna fall straight down. That's actually quite a fast strategy. It might be faster than the typical optimal strats that you see in high level runs. So nice little jump through out of the door for ScotTroid. Because that is in fact faster, so long as you're not doing some sort of double ammo pickup with some modern strats involving the attic. Okay, so here we go. Galen getting through the attic himself, and ScotTroid has to survive this bowling in order to not die here. All right, so ScotTroid not doing any sort of deboost backwards. I believe this is a race strategy. ScotTroid, I believe, having seen his previous PB before, in the bowling will opt to do the deboost into the ground strats to get that hole in two. However, in a race setting, that if you're not confident in it, it's quite dangerous because you mess that up one time and your run is over. You are going to die. We'll see how Galen approaches this bowling as well. Here we go. Galen also not doing any deboosts into the ground strategies. Once again, wise race strategy because, you know, it's second nature to a lot of people, but if it's in your mind at all and you have to think about it, you can die. It's just absolutely, I have to always bring that up because even in the finals last year, Sloters versus Lynx, game 2, Sloters had the 1-0 lead, actually lost his run because he took 3 hits in bowling and ended his run right there. So nice little deboost from ScotTroid, and the race is on. Here we go. Galen is going to be picking up that gravity suit. Lots of time and risks still left in this game. We still have the lower Norfair section, and the whole upper Norfair section, even though these players won't die in that section, is going to be really, really dangerous. Now, it's going to be interesting to note, ScotTroid with this lead, will he employ something like running the PKRD route as opposed to the PRKD route? Those letters, in particular, meaning the boss order. So I know Galen in the past has employed going Kraid second as opposed to Ridley second, which is the optimal route. Ultimately, that is a 6-second time loss plus whatever time that you have to farm the additional supers that you won't have because you were doing Kraid immediately. So typically you can say optimally, commonly it'll be something around the realm of a 16-second time loss overall, but you're going to be so much safer for the lower Norfair section. It's 16 seconds, but if you also opt to grab the E-Tank, it's additional time loss there. ScotTroid trying to go for a nice little weave there, gets hit in the bottom, but that's fine. Galen is going to do a 2 farm here for the Cax because his super count is a little bit low. Definitely want to make sure you have all the supers you can for the Ridley fight. Now, I do want to point out, Galen, because he farmed those cacti right there, that is a telltale sign that he is likely not going to go for the Kraid second route. I don't know if he knows what the situation is with ScotTroid, but typically Galen may be aware that if you go Kraid second, your super count doesn't matter here. You can actually just get all your supers back after the Kraid fight, but because Galen farmed those supers, that really strongly to me is an indicator that he is going to go for Ridley second, and he feels like he needs to make up that time. We're gonna have to see how ScotTroid approaches this. Perhaps he'll go for that Kraid second route, or perhaps he'll just go straight down to Ridley. ScotTroid with the supers is going to go Kraid second. So here we go. That is an adaptation. That is an adaptation. Perhaps ScotTroid wasn't going to do that until he saw the stream and saw what Galen's situation is. But here we go. This is a live, potentially a live adaptation that ScotTroid is making for this run to go for that Kraid second because he knows that he's ahead to ensure that he might survive that lower Norfair, that dangerous part. That it's just such a dangerous part in the game. So definitely very interesting to see this live adaptation from ScotTroid. We'll have to see if this was something that he predetermined before the match, but this is good. Galen going straight down is going to go Ridley second. So we will see them meet up when they get back to Meridia, but obviously this is going to be a big risk for Galen, and this is going to be a big safety for ScotTroid. Once again, there's additional time loss that can happen if ScotTroid opts to just go for the Kraid tank, because it is a 16-second time loss, assuming you don't grab that Kraid tank. But really a big reason why you would want to go for this route is to grab that Kraid tank to stay alive. Now there are adaptations you can make. You can grab the Kraid tank and you can grab the high jump tank, and then you can just forego the Ridley tank and the Batoon E tank later to make sure you save time. You could even make an adaptation on the fly by just going to grab the tanks, and then if you need the Batoon E tank later, you can grab it or skip it depending on your health. So lots of interesting choices that can be made. This is a race situation. We're gonna have to see. Once again, Galen without that many without that many power bombs, had to do a little bit backup, had to do a backup right there in the high jump boots room where he just laid a few bombs. It's a few seconds slower, but ultimately it's fine. We're gonna have to see what happens here. So will ScotTroid grab this Kraid E tank for the additional safety and go on? Yes, he will grab the ScotTroid will grab this Kraid E tank. That's going to keep him extremely safe for this lower Norfair fight. We can rest easy knowing unless he fails multiple times in like the worst room in the game, ScotTroid will almost certainly survive. I kind of expected ScotTroid to pick up those power bombs on there. It's a nice little refill you can get, but it's fine. He doesn't need the power bombs. He's good here. Meanwhile, Galen grabbing the ice. This upper Norfair section is just chock full of difficult rooms. They're difficult in the sense that they're hard to execute optimally, but in terms of, you know, risk of losing your run, you're not going to typically see that. So once again, for those of you maybe tuning in a little bit later, ScotTroid is actually probably ahead in this situation due to the fact that Galen had some more, both players did have some struggles in the moat, but Galen having a little bit more, having some more issues there, is probably behind, even though ScotTroid is, you know, behind on the screen, because ScotTroid did do Kraid second and Galen is going to do Kraid third. Absolutely fascinating race. You know, I imagine both players are a little bit nervous given how the early game run, but ultimately, given the Fantoon patterns, Galen was able to catch up for the most part. So this is not really that much of a race that these two players are that far apart. It's interesting that we finally kind of get, it's common that we get races that are kind of like back and forth and tied, but this has been a very interesting race because there have been some live adaptations based off the results. And it's always fascinating to see. We're gonna have to see if that extra E-tank that ScotTroid picked up is going to make a significant change later on based off of what he chooses to do with the Batoon E-tank or the Ridley E-tank. All right, so let's see if we can switch this audio. ScotTroid once again is likely ahead at this point. I mean, in this case, it's quite even due to the fact that ScotTroid did pick up that E-tank, and if Galen chooses to go 3-tank and ScotTroid ends up having to grab a 4th, then I would say these players are roughly pretty much dead even. Now, we do want to have this audio on Galen because Galen is going to be the first to enter that lower Norfair section. And that lower Norfair section is where we need to keep our eyes on Galen because it is not a safe part of the game. You are not expected to have the sort of loadout that these players have. The devs kind of expect you to have space jump. They expect you to potentially have screw attack. They expect you to have plasma beam, and these players are not going to get any of those. So here we go. We have Galen grabbing this quick wave beam, and he is going to be heading down to the lava spark section. We're gonna have to see if Galen is going to opt to go for the lava spark or if he's going to forego it and potentially just go for a chronic boost strategy. The chronic boost strategy means that you're going to deboost off of this the viola, the blue ball in the lava spark room, and that'll fling you all the way to the left, and then you could just opt to go for a gravity jump. That's kind of the safer, guaranteed way to survive that section without the risk of the lava spark. Ultimately, it's going to save you a little bit of health. It'll cost you maybe in the realm of 2 to 4 seconds, depending on how fast you do it. Also, depending if you go for X factors on the Ridley fight. But we're going to have to see. Will Galen go for the lava spark, or will he just go for a chronic boost into a grav jump, or just go for the grav jump? Galen is going to go for a grav jump here, it looks like. He's going to grab a few boosts, and yeah, as you can see, no short charge attempt for Galen, so he's just going to run down here, jump down, he's going to pause, unequip that gravity, and just jump. And that is going to be a very quote-unquote free way. It's something that you do have to kind of practice a little bit, but it is a quote-unquote free way to get up there without any risk. The most dangerous thing being, if you attempt the lava spark, and you fly up there, you drain your health, and you actually bonk the ceiling. There's like a 4-frame window where you do it, but you could miss, hit the ceiling, and you come back to, you have to do the gravity jump back up, and that costs additional health where you're pretty much gonna die in one hit. So Galen with a 76, ooh, misses that jump right there. Kind of unfortunate. It's actually a very big time loss to fail that jump right there because you lose all your run speed and there's no platform to gain good run speed here. But here we go. Galen getting through. Let's see if he can get this pillar spark. Think that looked good. No, okay, so it looks like he might have missed the tap. Now, this means that Galen is gonna have to do a bomb spread strat, and this is about a 10-second time loss, but it's important to note that not doing the pillar spark does mean he has more HP. So in a sense, from my perspective, it's making me breathe a little bit easier because I'm a little bit more confident in Galen's ability to kind of survive this whole section. Ooh, breaking spin right there, but that's fine. That it's always a little bit scary when you kind of get a wrong input in this section because, man, one wrong input can spell the death of your run here. So Galen getting through the amphitheater. We'll see if ScotTroid attempts to go for the lava spark. Yes, okay, so ScotTroid with the various suit already, going for that lava spark and failing it is going to be fine. So even if he bonks here, he's gonna have plenty of health. So there you go, ScotTroid bonks there, but this gravity jump is gonna cost him basically no health. So he's fine. He also has the additional E-tank. So here we go, let's see if he can grab this. ScotTroid maybe. Oh, so ScotTroid falling there. It's okay. He has the various suit. He can reattempt the gravity jump. He's got the extra E-tank. ScotTroid may be a little bit unfamiliar with going the Kraid second route because he doesn't have to do the pause at the top. Okay, just like that, this is extremely bad for ScotTroid. ScotTroid is gonna maybe have to just reset this room. He might have to just farm because this is not enough health. I think he's gonna have to go, and he's gonna have to go to the section with the Magnolites at the top left. Yeah, ScotTroid is gonna go to the Magnolites at the top left. He's gonna refill some of his health. And unfortunately, ScotTroid making the adaptation for the PKRD Lava Spark, but I think is a little bit unfamiliar with the gravity jump. You don't have to do the pause at the top because you have various, so you're not taking that heat damage. So just like that, Galen definitely at this point should have a lead on ScotTroid. We're gonna have to see at the end, but yeah, here we go. ScotTroid getting the health back is gonna go ahead and reattempt the lava spark, but here we go. Galen in the Ridley fight with a lot of health here. We're gonna have to see how this turns out. Let's watch this fight for Galen. Galen not going for any X Factor strats here. Good fight so far for Galen. I think only one little tail block right there. But here we go. Galen does have a lot of health to work with here. If he opts to not go through, if he opts not to go for any sort of run through strats, then he should be completely fine. Meanwhile, ScotTroid getting through the lava spark section. We'll be heading down. ScotTroid with 237 health should have no issues getting through this whole LN section. Galen not really getting the chance to use any of the missiles. I don't know if that's a choice that he made on purpose, but is going to have to be firing these super missiles soon. It looks like this might be the final stretch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna jump into the claws of Ridley. Ah, okay, so there are actually, no, okay, so Galen perhaps kind of forgetting that he did the required beam shots to kill Ridley. Now we're gonna have to see. Galen does have 217 health. Perhaps he's aware of the situation ScotTroid went into, and we'll just take the Ridley E-tank. We're gonna have to see here if there's an adaptation being made. And here we go. So perhaps Galen aware of the situation that ScotTroid in, or maybe this is a predetermined thing, but Galen with 272 health, that's a lot of health to get through the LN escape. But this Ridley E-tank will ensure that he'll survive. ScotTroid, unfortunately, missing the spark in this room. ScotTroid with a lot of health still wants to make sure that he can survive this section though. I think he's gonna see if he can kind of wiggle through. That's a nice little wiggle through that key hunter there. But this is a really fascinating race because I believe that these runners are making many live adaptations based off the results that we're seeing. So now, typically, when you see Super Metroid PB attempts, you're going to see a very static run. You're going to see people doing the exact same things over and over. But This is fascinating because we're seeing live adaptations being made, strategies being shifted on the fly for these two runners based on this race scenario. So Galen, perhaps knowing that he's got a lot of health, is choosing not to farm the metal pirates here. He's going to have to do a super refill at some point. And because he's not doing the metal pirates, he's probably going to farm the bugs after Bubble Mountain to get that super refill, because he does not have to fight Crate. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting that wrong. ScotTroid is the one that has to get the super refill. So Galen is going to be heading after Crate after this. Galen getting that Ridley E-Tank. Looks like that's paying dividends because he took 2 hits from the counters there. That is 100 damage. Now Galen's probably going to be fine, but meanwhile we have ScotTroid entering with 8 supers, going for X Factor strats here. Let's see if he can make short work of this Ridley fight. I don't know if the second X Factor is going to work out too well. Oh, it looks like it's good. That third X Factor is not going to hit. So ScotTroid, hopefully these X Factor particles can hit quickly. Galen not getting the mock fall in this Key Hunter room, but it looks like the manipulation still is good. He might take an extra hit here, but his health is fine. So meanwhile, ScotTroid, 297 health, should be fine on this Ridley fight. Didn't get the X Factors that he potentially wanted, but that's still fine. Still landed 2 and still got a few hits on that third one. All right, so let's switch the audio over to ScotTroid real quick. Galen is still going to have to do that Crate fight, and we are going to see ScotTroid finish up this Ridley fight. ScotTroid thought that Ridley was going to go for a quick pogo right there, didn't. And pretty soon ScotTroid's going to have to start unloading those super missiles. Typical rule of thumb is when Ridley turns that shade of red, if you have 10 supers, it's going to take, if you have 10 supers, it's going to take 9 charge shots and 10 supers to finish off the fight. Now, ScotTroid, because he had to unload those missiles towards the end, may have sort of lost count because some of those missiles I know did not connect. Okay, ScotTroid jumping into the claws of Ridley, and that fight is over. Now, ScotTroid with 197 health, this is good health. We're gonna have to see if he opts to take the Ridley T-Tank like Galen did, or if he's just gonna go for it. No, ScotTroid, okay. ScotTroid with 252 health. With an extra tank, that's kind of not what you want to see when you have an extra tank entirely, but 252 health is great health for leaving this fight. Presumably, as long as it allows you to make essentially about 2 mistakes to survive the lower Norfair escape. So as long as ScotTroid can kind of do things relatively cleanly, he should be fine escaping this section. Meanwhile, we have Galen doing the catch-up. ScotTroid did do the Crate section already. Okay, so ScotTroid, here we go. ScotTroid, because he did do Crate first, has to get a little bit of a super refill. His super count is actually incredibly good. He looks like he got hooked up from Ridley and the previous farms, but still wants to make sure that he kind of has that super refill there. Having a little stumble here. Let's see if we can get the speed ball here. Nice speed ball from ScotTroid. And wants to get that morph entry from the bottom to make sure that he can get this minute properly. ScotTroid wiggling right there to try to get a little manip on the Key Hunters. Let's see if ScotTroid can get through. And perfect manip for ScotTroid. Not taking that hit there. 225 health. I can't expect ScotTroid taking any sort of death here unless something goes catastrophically wrong in the Three Musketeers section. Meanwhile, Galen quickly getting out of that Crate lair, heading over to Meridia. Let's see. Galen is not going to take any sort of Crate tank here. And there we go. Here we go. ScotTroid going to have to do the Three Musketeers here. Excellent. Took 1 hit there, but has plenty of health. That is fine. So ScotTroid getting out of the last dangerous part of the Three Musketeers. And here we go. Galen already entering Meridia. So Galen having the lead on ScotTroid here. ScotTroid is quickly going to go to Bubble Mountain. That ultimately, that Magdalite farm that he had to do to survive was kind of a big time loss. But once again, Galen stumbling there, not getting the backup. The fish was kind of blocking his way. So here we go. Galen is going to have to spark up this Everest. And Dragon full halfy, spike suit. There's still so many tricks that have to happen here. And if things don't go just right for Galen, ScotTroid can absolutely come back to this race. This has been such a back and forth race. you can never count anyone out at this point. It is still anyone's game here. All right, here we go. So Batoon for Galen. Going for the D factor strat. Misses 2 supers. Is gonna have to get some charge shots. Oh, quick recovery for Galen. Hopefully gets some supers here. 1 super, that's not quite enough. Galen is almost certainly going to farm the bugs here. Let's see if Galen grabs the Batoon E-Tank. If he knows... Yes, okay, so Galen is going to grab this Batoon E-Tank. I was going to say, since Galen knows that he may potentially want to grab extra supers, he could potentially have considered foregoing this Batoon E-Tank and just farming until he got some of the health that he got back, as well as the supers right here. Okay, but Galen is just going to go for it. So if Galen doesn't get an additional super, which he likely will not at this point, that means he's going to have to use 1 super. That looks like a full halfy bonk. This is going to be probably a regular halfy here, or no halfy. Okay, so Galen, if he doesn't get an extra super here from a random Metroid farm, he is going to have to missile the Ghidorah door. That's going to cost him 3 additional missiles, plus a little bit of time lost because it takes a while. So Galen taking some falls here. If ScotTroid can get the full halfy cleanly, that's going to be definitely some scary. It's going to be a way that ScotTroid can catch up. Galen farming 2 Metroid there, unfortunately, was not able to get a super, so is going to have to go ahead and do this. ScotTroid, oh no, looks like he might have missed the X Factor or something like that, but also gets a quick 2 rounds. So here we go. ScotTroid gets a lot of supers. Unfortunately, with 256 health, I do believe ScotTroid is going to probably grab that Batoon E-Tank. Yeah, so there we go. Yahtzee for ScotTroid. Dragon is the sort of fight that you could enter with not in full health, but you really do want to make sure you have that max, at least 300, 400 health going into the fight. Galen not getting the short charge on this fight, so here we go. He's gonna try to collapse these X Factor particles, and he's gonna have to recover. If Mother Brain, or if Dragon doesn't give good patterns here, not a good pattern. That's not what Galen wanted. Galen was hoping that Dragon would go for immediate swoop. ScotTroid getting this Nevdi Spark into the room in full halfy, so he's gonna have to slog through it. But here we go. We're gonna have to watch this for Galen. If he continuously gets swoops, misses the spark right there. Galen, at this point, probably can get the spark. If he nails the short charge, there we go. I think 1 more spark might be able to do it for Galen, but this is time that ScotTroid can get to recover here. Galen, let's see, is gonna have to time the spark well. That's not enough health. Galen is going to have to fire probably a few charge shots and a few... Galen trying to swing an X Factor into Dragon. Interesting strategy, but not paying off. This is dangerous. Oh, Galen taking a huge risk there with the short charge. That was a huge risk. Galen with 100 HP and Dragon with no health. That was absolutely a situation where he could have died, but it works out for him. He does not have Spike Suit, but here we go. Let's see if ScotTroid can get this good opening. That looked like potentially a good opening. If ScotTroid can get this 2-round Dragon, this is going to be a huge, huge time save. Oh, just a little bit too high. I think Dragon probably has about 500 health or so. So if ScotTroid just throws a few supers into Dragon, that should be it. This is kind of a dangerous spark, but ScotTroid with so much health should be okay here. ScotTroid is attempting a bomb jump out of this section. Let's see if he can get it. You really don't want to drop the bomb jump here. Okay, ScotTroid getting out of there is going to be able to spark across the Coliseum, unlike Galen. Galen's health looking really sketchy here, whereas ScotTroid with 272 health is looking really, really good. He's gonna lose a little bit here from this spark, but here we go. ScotTroid is not that far behind, and Galen only has 77 health, so if ScotTroid doesn't farm, and Galen has to sit there maybe for a few harm to make sure that he gets some health, just like that, ScotTroid is gonna be really close to Galen. All right, let's see if Galen will get this Everest jump right here. All right, not doing any sort of door open shenanigans to try to save some frames. That can be a little bit dangerous. Let's see how many times Galen opts to farm here. It could just be once potentially, because he does have a decent amount of supers. Okay, here we go. Galen going for 2 farms. Galen's going for 3 farms. Galen is going for 4 farms. Okay, Galen's resources looking really good right there, but if ScotTroid just skips the farms, he's getting really close to Galen here. Only one room behind. So here we go. Let's see. How many farms will ScotTroid do? One farm, and he is going. So Galen with 7 supers looking really intense. This is important to note because there is a strategy in Metroid 1 that if you execute it properly, it will only cost you 30 health. Now, the problem is most other strategies that are not that strategy involve you taking roughly 100 damage from the shots. So Galen with 77 health, he would have had to gamble on getting the requisite health potentially from the first Metroid. Otherwise, if he does not opt to go for that optimal risky strategy, he would have died with that strategy. So I think Galen wanted to be safe. I don't know what strategy that ScotTroid goes for or necessarily Galen, but we're going to have to see what happens here. Unfortunately, it looks like we may have temporarily lost that feed from Galen, so let's take a quick look at what's going on with ScotTroid here. But once again, this is a close match. Okay, here we go. We are back with Galen's feed. Galen entering that G4. ScotTroid trailing just behind. This is a close match. Given everything that happened, moat falls from both players. Galen spending more time in the moat. The fast from Galen. The slow, mid, slow, fast for ScotTroid. The ScotTroid, the messing up the lava dive, having to refarm at the Magdalite room, yet also going for PKRD as opposed to Galen's PRKD. And in the end, amidst all this, they are less than a baby skip away. So here we go. Let's see how these Metroid rooms turn out for Galen, and let's see how they turn out for ScotTroid. Let's see what sort of method that Galen employs here. I believe he's gonna super the first one and then run along the lava. Let's see. Oh, Galen missing the first Metroid. What's he gonna do here? He's gonna grab it. He's gonna latch that Metroid, run along the lava. It does drain health. This is the strategy. Galen has to be careful. Galen might die. Galen takes the death. Oh no, the Metroid too. Even with the farm, Galen takes the death right there. That is so unfortunate. And just like that, that is why Galen did have to take that farm. Unfortunately, with the Metroids not cooperating, the bombs not unlatching the way that Galen wanted to. The Metroid run room is the scariest Metroid room amongst these runners. And so Galen is going to restart here. We're gonna have to see if ScotTroid can get across. ScotTroid with 20 missiles and 8 supers. That is not the that's a time loss. Now here's the thing. ScotTroid likely knows there's a good chance, assuming that the race adaptations happened as a result of the restream. ScotTroid likely knows at this point that Galen did take the death. But it's also possible that he may have just kind of watched at G4 and then maybe he turned it off, because that's commonly what happens at this point. So ScotTroid getting grabbed by the baby here. We're gonna have to see what happens. Now, ScotTroid with 20 and 8. What this means is he actually has to missile the first door, and then he has to do a refill. Now, it's not a huge time loss given that he did grab the baby skip. It does require... ScotTroid's feed. We're gonna have to double check here. I believe ScotTroid is still running. We do have some technical difficulties, but ScotTroid's feed should still be up. Yeah, here we go. So ScotTroid got the quick refill. And here we go. ScotTroid is going to have to head over. He can super the Ghidorah door because at this point he does have the requisite farm to finish. Now, here's the crucial part. Will ScotTroid save here? Because ScotTroid doesn't save. ScotTroid's not saving. ScotTroid's not saving. I don't think ScotTroid knows that Galen died. ScotTroid does not know that Galen died. ScotTroid is in a prime position to complete this run. However, if he dies, takes an unfortunate catch-up, or got his missile eaten right there, he will have to restart, and we will be starting over from round 1. So, this is still a scary Mother Brain 2 fight. ScotTroid almost got his missile eaten and almost had to restart right there. Here we go, 60 shots to finish this fight off for Mother Brain 2. At shot 46, I believe, is when Mother Brain 2 will start the catch-up phase. ScotTroid, with 100 HP more than he would normally have, is probably going to be fine. We saw in Beef Robber versus Cash Mod yesterday, Beef Robber with the 4 tanks took a catch-up hit, but survived and won the race as a result. But we're gonna have to see. The catch-up can double hit you and can still end your run completely, even with 4 tanks. A chain of onion rings. ScotTroid with a quick dodge right there can also put ScotTroid in a really dangerous position. Oh boy, okay. Make sure you survive. Has to make sure he survives. Oh, the catch up. ScotTroid dodging it. The first one is always the most dangerous. Oh, really dangerous pattern. Okay, ScotTroid quickly able to adapt. When Mother Brain starts spitting out these other things, that's when she gets a lot less predictable. But I think ScotTroid has this completely in the bag. And there we go. ScotTroid getting past the most dangerous part. ScotTroid, make sure you take that damage. Okay. It is important to note that if ScotTroid did not damage down to at least 399, Mother Brain can actually just end you right there. Whew. But here we go. ScotTroid finally getting past the most dangerous part. So, assuming no sort of SNES crashing or some sort of soft lock of any sort, ScotTroid should be able to take this victory from Galen and move on to the next round. What a race this has been so far. The ultimate back and forth. I mean, we have seen races close, people running low 42s. But honestly, when you're talking about good Super Metroid races, this was a fantastic race. The back and forth between the two players really showcasing like the dangers of going this route and the fact that this game is in fact very, very hard. These sort of mistakes are actually mistakes that every runner makes. It's just that in a race setting, you can't hit the reset button. All players, including the best players, have made the mistakes that these runners have, but at the luxury of not being in front of a crowd and just being able to sit in front of your computer, being able to easily hit that reset button. In a Super Metroid racing, you don't get that luxury here. So here we go. ScotTroid finishing off this Mother Brain 3 fight. And all that will be left is the escape and landing on that ship to complete this run. All right, so the escape sequence has started for ScotTroid. What Galen is hoping right now is that ScotTroid's, Super Nintendo or emulator crashes. Don't think that's gonna happen. That's kind of what we have to expect if we want to see Galen come back into this race. Now here we go. Nice spark up. We got the Leodox room. This is the room that very often will cost runners their PBs or their race. We've seen it multiple times. But ScotTroid getting that quick down grab, getting that nice little moonfall right there. One little misstep on that wall jump. That's okay. We'll see. Here's the Behemoth Spark. Angle Spark up to the ceiling. And all that's left is the parlor and the ship room. No saving the animals today. ScotTroid is heading straight to that ship. And GG, get your GGs in chat. With ScotTroid finishing at an official racetime.gg time of 48 minutes and 32 seconds. GG. And with that, officially Galen has forfeited this race, unfortunately taking that death in Metroid Room 1. I'm reading a little bit of that race time chat, and I can see that ScotTroid, in fact, did not know, was not aware that Metroid 1 was the cause of Galen's death there. And as a result, ScotTroid did not save and risked potentially having to go. We potentially would have had to do a 2-round race between these two runners. But yes, this was an absolutely amazing race. Fireworks left and right, adaptations on the fly. ScotTroid going for the PKRD, but ultimately losing time for it. Galen and ScotTroid both having struggles in the moat. Galen recovering quickly with the fast, and good execution later on. And ultimately, it did come down to Turian. Turian is always a really scary part no matter what. You're not out of the woods, even in KPDR, even in PRKD, KPDR, whatever route you run, Turian is always a scary situation in these routes where you're running 3-4 tanks, because bad things can happen. And unfortunately, that is the end of Galen's tournament run here. We have ScotTroid in the waiting booth here. Let's see if he wants to join. Both players can come in here for comms if they want. And today we have the winner of the match, ScotTroid, joining us in the comms booth. ScotTroid, that was a race. How you feeling about that win?
Surprised.
Surprised.
Yeah, I was waiting for Galen to done that whole Torian pretty much.
Can you kind of give us a little rundown of how you approached this race, if you were making any adaptations, or like what was kind of going through your mind throughout this whole race?
Yeah, I've been dying a lot in these races, so I figured I would try another strategy in doing the crate early.
Yes.
And I guess that worked out, but for some reason I could not get past Lava Dive.
Now, I have a question. I have 2 questions, in fact. Were you by any chance keeping tabs of where Galen was throughout the race, or did you kind of just play your own game here?
Yeah, I was just playing my own game this time. I wasn't watching the restream at all.
Ah, very interesting. Okay, so I was wondering if you made the PKRD adaptation on the fly, because I assume you were a little bit nervous after what happened in the mode.
Yeah. I kind of expected, honestly. I really have been sucking at the mode lately.
Okay, so believe it or not, but Galen actually took longer to get out of the mode than you did.
Oh my goodness.
And what ended up happening is you had the slow, mid, slow, fast Fantoon, and Galen actually was in the mode significantly longer than you were, I would say. But he recovered a decent amount of the time because he got triple fast on Fantoon.
Very nice.
So given what happened, we thought that maybe that you were going for crate second as an adaptation because of what was kind of happening with Galen. But you said you were kind of just playing your own game there. Was this something that you've practiced, the crate second round?
Yeah, I've been practicing since pretty much since last race against Swarsando.
Got you. Okay, and that makes sense. It is definitely a good route. But yeah, we were wondering. You still had a significant edge on Galen because of what happened in the moat. But obviously, at that point, after what happened with the Magnolite farm, after the lava dive, Galen did take that lead there. But it evened up pretty quickly because Galen had some struggles, and it actually became a really close race. It ended up kind of decided because of that M1 from Galen.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, you have any other thoughts on kind of how that run went out, like kind of what was going through your mind? You also didn't come out with the requisite missiles, supers, after the M4. We kind of already knew what was happening with the match, but we kind of got the idea that maybe you weren't watching the restream because you didn't take that save before Mother Brain.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it's funny because I thought I was so behind and I wasn't watching the restream that I kind of just the kind of nerves just kind of went away until I got to Lava Dive. Honestly, I probably would have been more nervous if I was watching the restream, knowing I was a little bit ahead there.
Yeah, that's true. That's
but
true.
I just barely missed Lava Spark. So close.
Yeah, just like a pixel off. It's unfortunate when that happens.
But no, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Hope I can do much better next race.
So with that win, you will be moving on to round 2. You are now in the money. Congratulations, being a professional Super Metroid runner.
All right.
But you will be playing Bressingham in round 2. You have any thoughts on that match? Are you aware of Bressingham's runs?
Not particularly.
He is a 44 runner, and I believe he is a KPDR main as well.
Oh, so that should be really interesting then.
Yeah, he's quite fast, but you do run Fantoon first, so it's definitely gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, I might have to drop a few safeties for that.
Definitely. Yeah, so you have any other thoughts kind of on that race, on the future? Because at this point, losers round 2 is the point where you start making money in the round, and every kind of win that you can take from this point on is a pretty significant paycheck, I would say.
That's really cool. No, no other comments. Just thanks for commenting the race.
Okay, absolutely. So, ScotTroid, give your hands up. Get your GG's chat for ScotTroid. ScotTroid, congratulations, making it past the next round. It was honestly a fantastic race. I know, there are mistakes and stuff that both players made that maybe they're not happy with, but it really did make for a good race. I think it's good to get the viewers to kind of see what these runs can kind of look like in a no reset setting. And ultimately, taking this victory, congratulations, ScotTroid. Moving on to losers round 2.
Thanks again.
Okay. So with that concludes the final round of the lower bracket for round 1, I believe. So from this on out, pretty much everything you're going to be seeing is money matches. So we're going to be seeing great fireworks. ScotTroid, moving on, we'll be playing Bressingham when they schedule the date. But keep tuning in to these matches. We got a lot of great matches coming up ahead. Today we have Smellin versus Albies later at 5 Eastern. That should be very soon, actually. We have Chrono versus BR Choker at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have Telemorph and Maniacal and PBB versus Cashmod at 11 p.m. Eastern on 2 separate channels. So this is going to be great. We have also some great matches coming up tomorrow. Just make sure to keep tuning in while you can. But yeah, this has been great. Once again, Super Metroid 80% SGLive tournament for 2022 with a $14,000 prize pool. This has been the gold bracket, but we also do have a silver bracket. This is going to be so exciting. Tune in for all the matches that you can. Support the runners. Give these runners a follow. That is Galen83. That is ScotTroid. Good thing the command is working here. And from all of us at SpeedGaming, including the broadcast crew, everyone here is just so amazing that can make these races happen. Thank you so much, and we will see you next mission.